In a move no one saw coming, Kendrick Lamar just handed over every single dime of his latest profits to none other than hip-hop legend, Rakim. And the entire music world is spiraling into chaos. Was it respect? Was it guilt? Or is there a deeper, darker secret buried in hip-hop history that just exploded into the spotlight? Fans are shocked. Celebrities are scrambling to pick sides. And insiders say the aftermath could tear the rap game apart. Moments after the announcement, Kendrick vanished from the public eye. Rakim broke his decades-long silence. And what followed was a storm of betrayals, hidden truths, and emotional breakdowns that shook even the most elite members of the hip-hop community. Industry giants are whispering about a long-buried pact. Family members are accusing each other of lies. And Kendrick's own inner circle is divided like never before. What really drove one of the greatest rappers of this generation to give up millions overnight? And why is Rakim refusing to speak to him directly? Strap in, because this isn't just another music story. This is a full-blown emotional roller coaster with money, loyalty, and legacy on the line. You won't believe how deep this rabbit hole goes. It all started on what seemed like an ordinary Tuesday afternoon. Kendrick Lamar, known for being calculated, quiet, and unapologetically precise, shocked the world by doing the unthinkable. He transferred every cent of his recent tour earnings, reportedly over $23 million, directly into an account owned by Rakim. No press release, no announcement, no cryptic tweet. Just a cold, hardwire transfer, and then silence. Within hours, whispers began to spread like wildfire. First on Reddit threads, then on hip-hop blogs. And soon, every media outlet had the same headline: Kendrick pays homage or hiding a secret. Fans were split down the middle. Some hailed it as the ultimate tribute to a pioneer, while others smelled something deeper, something far more complicated. Behind the scenes, emotions were already spiraling. Kendrick's longtime manager, Dave Free, was reportedly blindsided. He didn't tell me. He didn't tell anyone. Dave allegedly told a close friend who leaked the audio of their private conversation. This ain't about music. It's personal. He's dealing with something from way back. The tension only escalated when Rakim, the godfather of lyrical complexity, broke his years-long media silence. He appeared on an unexpected Instagram Live from his backyard in Long Island, dressed in all black, looking somber. He didn't smile. He didn't thank Kendrick. Instead, he said 5 words that sent shockwaves through the culture. The truth always comes out. No context, no elaboration. Just a stare into the camera, and the live ended. Fans and journalists were left grasping for meaning. Was this about a ghostwriting scandal? Stolen lyrics? An unpaid debt from decades ago? Theories began piling up. But the truth was stranger than any of them. Imagined, according to a former intern from Aftermath Records, who's now turned anonymous insider on TikTok. This entire situation stems from a secret meeting that took place in 2013. Apparently, Kendrick and Rakim met in a closed studio session arranged by Dr. Dre. At the time, Kendrick was still rising, fresh off the success of Good Kid M.A.A.D City. And Rakim was being considered for a surprise collaboration on Kendrick's next project. What happened in that meeting, though, changed everything. They got into it, the insider claimed. Like, really got into it. Yelling, accusing, ... Kendrick told Rakim that someone close to him stole verses from his old notebooks when he was a teenager. He said he thought Rakim knew. And then came the bombshell. The insider alleged that Rakim had once mentored someone in the early 2000s, who later worked as an assistant engineer at Top Dog Entertainment. That assistant had access to early recordings and, supposedly, collection of old rhyme books that eerily resembled some of the thematic patterns in Kendrick's later work. They were never meant to be heard, the insider said. They were part of Rakim's personal vault. Things he never recorded, ideas he never developed. And somehow, some of those same ideas started showing up in Kendrick's music. Kendrick was furious. He accused Rakim of letting it happen. Rakim denied everything, claiming he never gave anyone permission to use or share those lyrics. But the trust was broken, according to those present. The two men left that session without even shaking hands. Fast forward 10 years, and the ghosts of that day seem to have resurfaced with full force. After the money transfer, Kendrick reportedly went completely off the grid. No phone, no public sightings, not even family members knew where he was. His cousin, Baby Keem, was approached by paparazzi at Lax and asked about the situation. His response was short but telling. He's dealing with something he's carried for a long time. It's bigger than music. Meanwhile, Rakim's camp remained tight-lipped. But what couldn't be ignored was the sudden influx of attention and pressure. Old-school legends started taking sides. Nas posted a cryptic tweet, reading "Truth buried under bars," while Ice Cube simply posted a shrug emoji. But the real shock came when J. Cole entered the chat. Cole has always remained neutral in rap beefs. Posted a photo of himself with Rakim from years ago, captioned, "He gave us the blueprint." It was subtle, but fans took it as a sign that Cole was siding with Rakim, perhaps even implying that Kendrick owed more than just respect. Then came the leak. A voice memo supposedly recorded just days before Kendrick vanished was uploaded anonymously to SoundCloud. In it, Kendrick can be heard speaking to someone, possibly Dave Free or Dre, saying, "I can't carry this anymore. I built my legacy on something I didn't even realize wasn't fully mine. And now ... now I have to make it right." Even if it means giving it all up, the hip-hop community lost its mind. Was Kendrick confessing to taking inspiration, or worse, lyrics, from Rakim's vault? Did he just admit his greatest verses weren't entirely his? The internet divided into camps. Die-hard Kendrick fans insisted he was being too hard on himself, calling it a noble gesture. Critics, however, began rewriting narratives, questioning whether Kendrick's entire discography was now tainted. But things were about to get even messier. Behind the scenes, tensions were boiling in Kendrick's own family. His sister, Kayla Duckworth, reportedly clashed with her uncle over a private group chat that was leaked by a relative. In the messages, Kayla allegedly said, "He's doing this because of guilt, not honor. He's trying to rewrite the past." Instead of facing it, Rakim didn't ask for this. No one did. So the family was left divided. Some believed Kendrick was trying to clear his conscience. Others believed he was unraveling under pressure and guilt, making reckless decisions that could destroy everything he built. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get any more complicated, a new player stepped into the arena, a name no one expected to hear in this saga. Eric B. Yes, a legendary producer and Rakim's longtime partner. He went live on Instagram unannounced, pacing back and forth in what looked like a recording studio. He seemed angry, frustrated, like a man who had been silent too long and could no longer hold it in. "You want the truth?" he said. "Fine. Here's the truth. Kendrick ain't the first. And he sure as hell won't be the last." People have been biting Rakim since the 80s. He just never said anything. Out of respect, out of peace. But this right here, this ain't peace. Is payback. The live cut off suddenly, leaving fans stunned. Was Eric B. implying that Kendrick's entire artistic persona was built on a borrowed foundation? Or was he simply defending his brother-in-arms in the face of media hysteria? And then, without warning, a private email thread between top executives at a major label leaked. And what was in that email changed everything, not just for Kendrick and Rakim, but for the entire industry. The leaked email thread was like gasoline on an already raging fire. In the thread, which appeared to be between top executives at HF, at Interscope and Universal Music Group, there was mention of a long-standing internal discussion about potential intellectual property, disputes regarding lyrics in Kendrick's early material, One of the emails dated back to 2015 and specifically referenced influence overlap with unreleased Rakim notebooks. The most chilling part, one executive wrote, if Rakim ever goes public, we're exposed. The vaults match too closely. Hip-hop world lost its mind. Immediately. Speculation turned into outright belief for many. Twitter was flooded with threads comparing bars from Rakim's bootlegs and freestyle. Footage to Kendrick's verses from To Pimp a Butterfly and Section .80. Some fans broke down rhyme patterns, metaphors, even cadences, showing eerie similarities. The hashtag borrowed bars began trending within hours, and while the internet had their pitchforks ready, Kendrick was still nowhere to be found, but someone finally cracked the silence in a surprise move. Dr. Dre posted a black and white video to his social media. No intro, no music, just Dre sitting in a studio looking more weathered than ever. His voice was low, careful, but heavy. I saw what went down between those two, he said. I was there in that room back in 2013. They were both hurt, both paranoid, both guarding something. This isn't about theft. This is about legacy. And guilt. And guilt. Dre didn't clarify whether the bars were stolen or not. Instead, he said something that only made the waters murkier. Sometimes we inherit weight we didn't know we were carrying. And sometimes we bury the truth so deep, it starts to rot. Everything we built on top of it. Those words triggered a deeper conversation, not just about hip-hop, but about the burdens artists carry when they're crowned too young. Too fast. Meanwhile, Kendrick's silence was becoming deafening. His fan base was panicking. Even some of his most loyal supporters began to wonder if the rumors were true. YouTube reaction videos went viral, some accusing him of being a fraud, others defending him as a man trying to do the right thing. And then Rakim dropped a freestyle. No announcement. No promo. Just a midnight drop on SoundCloud titled Ledger. Of the past. It was raw, it was unfiltered, and it was angry. They think I wanted his crown. If I made mine in '88 before his pen touched a pad, I already sealed my fate. This ain't about bars. It's about scars, passed down through whispers. In ghost-written memoirs, the freestyle ignited the culture again. Wasn't an outright diss, but it wasn't peace either. Fans analyzed every line, every breath, debating if Rakim was claiming artistic ownership or just venting years of being overlooked. But there was one line that truly cracked open the dam. He came to me with tears, said, I think I took what's yours. I told him it took a curse, not a crown, not applause. It painted a picture of a private confession, a moment behind. Closed doors when Kendrick, overwhelmed by pressure and praise, admitted to Rakim that something didn't feel right. That he felt haunted by the possibility that what launched him to greatness wasn't entirely his own. And suddenly, the $23 million wire transfer made more sense. This wasn't hush money. It wasn't homage. It was restitution. But just when fans started to accept this emotional theory, another twist knocked everything off balance. A mysterious YouTube channel under the name Archive Soul uploaded a 2-minute clip titled The Missing Session. It showed grainy footage of what appeared to be Kendrick and Rakim in that very 2013 studio session everyone had been talking about. The audio was patchy, but you could clearly hear one moment. Kendrick, I didn't know. I swear to God, I didn't. No, they came from you, Rakim, but now you do. And the question is, what are you going to do about it? The video ended there. No context, no date. But the implications were massive. Now the question wasn't whether Kendrick stole. It was whether he unknowingly built his career on the stolen words of a legend, and just when the narrative seemed to pivot toward empathy and moral complexity, another unexpected player entered the scene. Rosie Perez. Yes, the actress and longtime hip-hop head. She made an emotional appearance on a hip-hop panel for Revolt TV and claimed that she witnessed early signs of this years ago when Kendrick performed a poem at an underground showcase in Brooklyn back in 2008. I remember thinking, that sounds familiar. Not the words exactly, the rhythm, the feel. And I turned to my friend and said, that's got Rakim's bones in it. I thought maybe it was just inspiration. Now I'm not so sure. Her emotional retelling reignited questions. How many people had noticed this over the years but stayed silent? How long had Kendrick carried this weight without even knowing it? Back in Compton, Kendrick's hometown, murals that once honored his face began getting painted over. Not by haters, but by confused fans who felt betrayed. One young artist was interviewed by a local station and said, "I still love his music. Man, but it's different now. It's like finding out your favorite novel was ghostwritten. It don't hit the same." Meanwhile, Rakim was getting offers left and right: podcasts, interviews, tributes. He turned most of them down, except one. He agreed to appear on Sway's Universe. And what he said changed everything. ... Again. I never asked for the money. I never wanted the spotlight. But what I did want ... was truth. And if this is the only way the truth gets aired out, then so be it. He's not the villain. It's just part of the chain. Sway clearly moved, asked him directly, "Do you forgive him?" Rakim paused. The air went still. "I forgive the kid who didn't know. I'm still deciding about the man who stayed silent once he did." With that, Sway cut to commercial. Fans were left reeling, unsure whether reconciliation was even possible now. And in the background, another piece of the puzzle began surfacing. A former Teed engineer, known only as Mellow G, started dropping cryptic tweets suggesting that this scandal was just the surface, that there were others involved, including well-known names in the West Coast rap scene. One tweet read, "Kendrick wasn't alone. You think he built those verses in a vacuum? Open your eyes." Speculation exploded. Were other artists using the same source? Was there a hidden archive of lyrics passed through secret circles of producers and ghostwriters? And if so, who else had dipped into it? Fans scrambled for answers, and the internet buzzed with theories. One final twist came through a surprise interview teaser dropped by Oprah's network, an exclusive sit-down with none other than Kendrick's mother. In the 30-second teaser, she's seen wiping tears from her face and saying, "He's not who the world thinks he is, but he's trying to be better." And that was it. The teaser ended with a date. Exclusive interview airs next Sunday. Suddenly, all eyes turned back to Kendrick. Where was he? What was he doing? And would he finally speak? Because in the shadows of all the drama, one truth was becoming clear. This wasn't just about lyrics anymore. It was about identity, legacy, and the invisible weight of greatness. And just when everyone thought the drama had reached its peak, something happened that no one, absolutely no one, could have seen coming. ... The unexpected event came not from a rapper, a journalist, or even a record label. It came from the United States Copyright Office. Yes, the actual government. In a shocking public bulletin posted on their website, a request had been filed under Kendrick Lamar Duckworth's name to relinquish authorship rights to 17 individual compositions, all of which were songs from his early discography, including tracks from Overly Dedicated and Section 80. Buried deep within the filing was a chilling note in the comments section. Original concepts, structures, and lyrical devices were inspired by prior material belonging to William Griffin. Rakim, knowingly or unknowingly, requests to formally disassociate authorship for integrity of legacy and culture. The industry froze. No one could remember a time an artist had voluntarily removed themselves from the authorship of their own songs, especially not songs that built the very foundation of their rise to fame. Fans and critics alike were stunned. The implications were massive. Publishing rights, streaming royalties, award credits, all of it potentially erased from Kendrick's name. And then the man himself reappeared. Kendrick Lamar was finally seen in public, but not at an award show, not at a concert, not even in Los Angeles. He showed up in Long Island. Onlookers spotted him outside a small diner not far from Rakim's neighborhood, dressed simply in a gray hoodie, jeans, and sneakers. No entourage. No cameras, just him. And moments later, Rakim arrived. The two men embraced. Not a staged handshake, not a media stunt. A full, heavy, emotional hug. Like two men who had carried the same burden for too long and finally dropped it. Between them, someone managed to capture a blurry photo from across the street, and within minutes, the internet was in meltdown. The hashtag Kendrick and Rakim trended worldwide for the first time in weeks. The narrative shifted from chaos to healing, but what happened inside the diner was far from a smooth resolution. An anonymous waiter who served their table later told a podcast that the atmosphere was tense. Talked low, he said, but there was heat in the air. Like unresolved stuff. And at one point, Kendrick slammed his hand on the table. Real quick, real hard. Then it got quiet again. Despite the handshake outside, what happened in that booth wasn't closure. It was confrontation. According to the waiter, they were in the diner for nearly 2 hours. Rakim reportedly left first, looking calm. Kendrick sat alone afterward for nearly 20 minutes, head down, hands clasped. Whatever they talked about. It wasn't over yet. And then came the Oprah interview, the one with Kendrick's mother. It aired 2 record-breaking numbers on her network. And in it, she told the story that no one expected. When Kendrick was about 16, she said, he came home one night late. He had this notebook. It was old, worn out, like it had been passed through hands 100 times. And he said, "Ma, this is genius. This is everything I want to be." And I asked him, "Whose is it?" And he just looked at me and said, "I don't know." She paused, tears forming in her eyes. I think he knew even then that it wasn't his. Oprah leaned forward, visibly shaken, and asked, "Did you ever ask him again?" Later. When he got famous, Kendrick's mother nodded slowly. "He told me he lost the notebook, but I don't think he ever stopped carrying it." The episode sent shockwaves through the culture. Even the most devoted fans began to grapple with the emotional weight Kendrick had been carrying for over a decade. Was he a thief? Or was he a vessel, unknowingly echoing the words of the very man who had inspired the entire genre? But just as the story seemed to take a turn toward empathy and understanding, another twist arrived from someone completely unexpected, Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill. She posted a single video to her Instagram story. No caption, no explanation. Just a black screen with her voice saying, "They took my songs. They took my voice. And now they're eating their own. Karma doesn't knock. She walks in." Within hours, blogs speculated that she was referencing Kendrick. Others said she was speaking more broadly about the music industry. But either way, the post poured gasoline back on the fire. Debates raged across every platform. Some argued Rakim should have gone public earlier. Others said Kendrick's confession and financial gesture were the most honest things hip-hop had seen in decades. A few even claimed that everyone was missing the bigger picture, that this entire mess exposed a quiet, generational theft within the culture, and that Kendrick was just the first to crack under the weight, but nothing prepared anyone for what happened next. Top Dog himself, Anthony Top Dog Tiffith, released a statement on his Instagram page. It was a plain image with white text on a black background. No logo, no sound. It read, "Kendrick didn't steal. He inherited. And when he realized the inheritance came from blood spilled, he gave it back. Don't confuse pain with guilt. It ain't a scandal. It's a sacrifice." The post went viral instantly. Suddenly, people began to reframe Kendrick's actions. It wasn't exposed. He was exposing something. Something broken in the industry. Something hidden. And in giving back what wasn't his, maybe he was cleansing. More than just his own conscience, Rakim remained quiet after the diner meeting. But Eric B. spoke again. This time on a podcast with NORE and DJ F. "I'll tell you something the world don't know," he said. Those notebooks, they were meant to be burned. Rakim told me years ago he was done with them, said the past needed to stay in the past. But some engineer or intern or whoever kept copies, and they ended up in the wrong hands. Not Kendrick's fault. But once he knew, he owned it. I respect that. And just like that, the story flipped again. Kendrick's silence, his money, his disappearance. It all looked different now. Not guilt, not shame, but grief. Grief over the possibility that the voice he spent years crafting might, if never, been his alone. Grief over a legacy he couldn't claim with clean hands. Grief over a history that was never written down, just passed quietly, through rhymes, through verses, through time. But as part 3 of the drama came to a close, there was still one final twist waiting. Not a leak, not a song, not a memo, not a contract. Someone no one knows who posted a scanned image of a 2006 non-disclosure agreement between a then unknown teenage rapper and a freelance engineer who had briefly worked for Rakim's studio. And the signature on that? NDA Kendrick Duckworth. The contract changed everything. The scan was clear. A 2-page non-disclosure agreement dated back to September 2006. The name at the top read Kendrick Duckworth. And the second signature belonged to a man named Calvin Ward, a little-known freelance engineer who, according to internet sleuths, worked briefly in Long Island studios affiliated with Rakim's early 2000s sessions. This meant Kendrick had met someone from Rakim's inner circle long before he ever entered the mainstream. Long before Good Kid M.A.D City. And suddenly, the entire narrative shifted again. Was this not just coincidence? Was Kendrick more involved than anyone thought? The internet imploded. Podcasts scrambled to update their takes. YouTube channels uploaded emergency breakdowns of the contract, and rap Twitter went into overdrive. Some said it was proof Kendrick knew exactly what he was doing from the beginning. Others argued the opposite, that he had been manipulated, that he was a pawn in a bigger game engineered by labels trying to manufacture the next great lyrical prophet. But one person remained notably silent, Kendrick, until he finally posted. It came in the form of a 5-minute video uploaded to his Instagram. No press run, no teaser, just a plain title, a letter to the architects. He was standing alone in a dimly lit room, surrounded by handwritten pages pinned to the walls, possibly lyrics, old verses. Or maybe the infamous notebooks everyone had been talking about. His voice was steady, but his eyes told a different story. They were red, tired, and filled with something deeper than regret. I was 16, he said, hungry, broke, obsessed with the pen. I met someone who said they could get me access to greatness, to the real thing, said it would teach me how to build my own voice. He paused, swallowing hard. I signed the paper. Didn't read it, just wanted to learn. Kendrick looked around the room, gesturing toward the pinned pages. I didn't. No, those were Rakim's. Not then, not fully. I thought they were scraps, ideas, leftovers. I treated them like study guides, blueprints. I thought I was honoring them. His voice cracked just slightly. But the truth is, I was building my house on someone else's foundation. And when I realized that, really realized it, I hated myself for it. He turned to the camera fully now. This money I gave Rakim, it's not penance. It's not a payoff. It's the piece of me that never belonged to me. And this legacy, it's his too. Whether the world gives it to him or not. And with that, the video faded to black dot. No background music, no credits. It's just silence. And for once, the internet followed suit. The video received millions of views in under an hour. Fans flooded the comments with messages of support, forgiveness, confusion, and heartbreak. Some praised Kendrick's honesty. Others couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. But nearly everyone agreed on one thing. No one in hip-hop had ever done this before. Rakim responded days later, not with a freestyle or a post, but with an op-ed published in the New York Times. The headline read, "Truth, Legacy, and the Cost of Silence." In the piece, Rakim wrote about the burden of watching his style, his techniques, his very essence passed down without acknowledgement. But he also wrote about forgiveness. "I see a man who didn't steal," he wrote. "I see a man who inherited. The difference matters." He ended the piece with a single line that would echo through the culture. Hip-hop was never about ownership. It was about responsibility. Those words hit like thunder. In the weeks that followed, the industry began to shift. Other artists came forward with stories, some light, some heavy. Lupe Fiasco revealed that he once rejected ghost-written verses that sounded eerily like Nas. Black Thought posted a video explaining how every generation borrows, but only legends pay their debts. The conversation turned from blame to reflection. Kendrick's album sales dipped briefly, then rose even higher as the documentary The Weight of the Pen was announced. Directed by Ava DuVernay, the project promised an unfiltered look at the scandal, the recovery, and the truths buried under the beats. But even with public sentiment softening, the personal fallout wasn't over. Baby Keem released a track titled Blood on Paper, a haunting auto-tuned confessional where he rapped about watching his cousin fall apart under the weight of an invisible inheritance. The lyrics were raw. "You gave him ink, he gave you guilt. Now the house of words tilts. We celebrated with broken cakes. Didn't know the candle came from stolen plates." The track hit #1 on Spotify within 48 hours. And in the middle of all this, something almost mystical happened. Rakim and Kendrick were seen walking through a museum exhibit in Harlem together. No cameras, no entourage, just two men, side by side, looking at a wall of framed lyrics from rap's golden era. One fan caught a glimpse and posted online. "They didn't speak much," the fan said. But at one point, Kendrick pointed at a verse on the wall and Rakim nodded. They both just stood there in silence, like they both finally understood the same thing. And that, maybe, was the real ending. Not contracts, not money, not even fame. Just two men, two voices, two eras, bound by the same ink. In the following months, Kendrick took a step back from public life. No new music, no performances, just quiet. Rakim, on the other hand, launched a new initiative called Echoes, a program designed to protect original lyricists' archives, ensuring that rhyme books, notes, and unreleased verses are preserved and never exploited again. Hip-hop changed after this. Not overnight, not dramatically, but quietly. Young artists began talking more openly about their influences. Credits started to reflect more than just production roles. And for the first time in decades, there was a movement, not about who's the best, but about who came before. Kendrick wasn't erased. His name wasn't canceled. But it was changed. He became something different. Not just an artist. Not just a rapper. A cautionary tale. A symbol. And, ironically, a bridge between the golden era and the modern one. As for Rakim, he remained the architect. The quiet giant, no longer ignored. No longer just respected. Finally understood. And though the dust settled, one question remained. If Kendrick had never found that notebook, would he have ever found himself? So what do you think? Was Kendrick Lamar right to give up his profits and reveal the truth? Was this an act of redemption? Or a hidden confession finally brought into the light? Did Rakim truly forgive him? Or was that diner meeting the beginning of an even deeper fracture in hip-hop's foundation? And what about the notebook? That one relic that set this entire storm into motion. Should it have ever left the vault? Or was it fate that Kendrick found it, carrying echoes from a past generation into the present? Fans are still divided. Some say Kendrick's legacy is now richer, more human, layered with complexity. Others believe the scars of this revelation will never fully fade. And then there's the new generation of artists watching all this unfold. Will they walk forward with more honesty, or more fear? One thing's for sure, the culture will never be the same again, but now, we want to hear from you. Do you think Kendrick's career survives this truth? Should Rakim release more of his archived work? And is this the beginning of a wave of transparency in hip-hop? Or just the calm before the next storm? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't hold back, we're talking legacy, loyalty, and lyrical lineage. And trust us, this conversation is just getting started. If you were hooked by this story, make sure to like this video. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Because in the world of rap royalty, nothing stays buried forever. We'll be watching. Will you stay tuned?